Not the Chuddle.
Chuddle. Surprise!
I have a real soft spot for evil.
Blood flying everywhere.
So good!
I'm a big boy who doesn't get scared.
Out of the mist and into the fog, it's Chuddle the Pod.
Vanakkam, cherished Chuddle Club members. That's hello, and thank you for joining us on a brand new meeting of the Chuddle the Pod Horror Movie Club, where horror movie lovers cover each other in a gooey substance. We also can't forget about our wonderful patrons. I mean, they're awesome. They're our coven of witches, and their sacrifice gives us life. And we thank their beautiful souls. Sam and Ross are my beautiful co-occupants. How are you guys tonight?
Oh, hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Sam?
I can't complain.
I'm fine.
Good to know. Good. I'm glad we're all fine. I'm glad we're all here, and I'm glad we're all accounted for, because that means we can get right into the meeting and crack open this goo book to Chuddle a movie that we're talking about tonight, which is Pizza.
There it is.
2012. Yeah. Let's talk about that real quick before we begin the official Chuddle. Pizza 2012. Check it out. Let's fucking Chuddle.
Give me that goo. Oh, yeah.
First order of business is to get into our goo synopsis, which is spoiler free for you all. A pizza delivery boy lands in a mysterious circumstance, and it works a dramatic change in his life. So, there you go.
Not good.
It's not the best.
Not the best.
But is
worst,
what
but not the
IMDb is
best.
giving us. I don't know. There's certainly different ways to change it. I mean, we can't get into too much until we get into the spoiler zone, I feel like ish, but this movie is not your typical horror movie, we'll say, and we'll get into that.
It's a story in 3 acts. Each act is a distinct genre. Only the second one is horror.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. But we'll talk about what that all really means soon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's talk about our toe tagline. There's only one. It's kind of like on the poster. It just says, "From today, your moment is waiting."
Okay.
Sure. I mean, I guess it makes sense.
Is that from dialogue?
After you see the whole movie.
Well, she tells him a couple times, "You'll have your moment where he'll believe in ghosts." So I guess that's what it's a reference to.
All right, let's just get into this one. Pizza is made by people, and the people that made this pizza are Kartik Subaraj is our director, and he also wrote it along with Prasath Ramar. And this stars Vijay Sethupathi as Michael, Ramya Nambi Sean as Anu, Adu Kalam Narain as Shanmugam, Karuna Karin as Raghavan, Jai Kumar as another person, Bobby Simha as Bobby, Pooja Ramachandran as Smitha, Vera Santhanam as the Exorcist. More characters in it. Those hit some of the main people that we'll be seeing in it here.
We should, if you haven't figured it out, this movie's Indian.
That's right.
It's in Telugu, the same language as RRR.
Well, no, I am wrong.
Oh?
It's not. I believe it was Talim, which is slightly different, but or maybe majorly different. I don't know.
I know there's like 6 different languages spoken across regions in India. I think it's 6.
And I believe, if I read right, this is like a southern-ish region, and I think they also speak it in Sri Lanka, if I read correctly as well. So I'll speak to that real quick, and maybe more once we talk about who picked it, why, and everything. But I feel like I read like a lot of different things about this movie, and then when I watched this movie, I was like, why do I feel like I read something very different that led me to expecting a much different movie here? But before we get into that, we have a thing we need to measure over here.
It's time for the gore.
Fatality.
Basically, on a scale of fucking pizza to the sadness, how gory is this film? Like, I gave it a 1 only because I gave a 0.5 to consistency because there is some, and the intensity a 0.5 because there is something.
Sure. I guess you're right. I didn't
but
even think
like,
about that.
I mean, it could be even lower because it's really not like horrific violence or gore. There's no gore. There's bloody. There's some cuts and rips and
it's like cuts and scrapes and stuff.
A lot of slapping.
A gratuitous amount of slapping.
But this is basic. Nothing. You're not going to get scared away by anything here.
No, not at all.
You agree with that assessment, guys?
No,
one sound good. You probably even give it a lover 0.5.
Feels high.
Yeah, I think
it does, right? But I feel like it's like because something happened, a 0.5 needs to be warranted. But like, and I'm like,
can we do 0.25 and 0.25?
No, I think a 1. I think especially towards the horror aspect of it, you do get some impalement. You do get, I think a hanging. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's not graphic, but it's like you get something.
In our horror
like
segment,
it's at least
for sure. You get
something.
Touches.
Yes.
Touches.
Right.
It constitutes us covering it for the podcast. Whisper. It has to at least have a 1.
A whisper of a 1. Now we're going to whisper this question for some.
Who is the horror forward?
All right, with this question, we like to ask what subgenre it belongs into firstly. And this one hits a lot. I mean, like Sam said, it's 3 different acts of 3 different genres.
Yeah, it's like a romance, a horror movie.
It's like a rom-com horror movie, and then like
I don't know
a thriller.
how to say the last
type
one
of
without spoiling it. Thriller works.
A thriller.
Mm-hmm.
A thriller. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. Yeah, I mean, like
that's the best way to put it. And like, I mean, foreign, Indian.
The horror part's a ghost movie. It's haunted ghosts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's. I'd say that's our overarching. It's a paranormal, supernatural.
No
is like
singing.
Our ghosty.
Yeah, there are a couple montages
to
music set to music, but there's no the characters don't sing or dance at any point.
Environment to watch this in, I feel like the best would be probably in an Indian theater.
I agree.
if like, you know, it's like Sam described, I think it was on our RRR episode, which is a Patreon exclusive. So if you haven't seen RRR, check that out for sure. But also sign up for Patreon and listen to that episode. But in Indian, some of the culture over there, like movies are like a big fucking festive thing. It sounds like. I think you described it as like, remember the beginning of Scream 2? That's what it's like.
They bring bags of confetti to the theaters to like throw out during big moments.
It's awesome.
So I think that would be the most fun to watch this in. I think this movie I did see it classified somewhere. Someone did kind of call it like a blockbuster because our main guy, VJ, this kind of started his career.
I can see that. He's very handsome and he's charming and everything.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, he's gone on to be in, I think, over about 50 movies at this point now and like do a bunch of stuff.
Which I feel like also would kind of play into because it's a festival, like a festive kind of thing, like a thing to do. I mean, they're bringing confetti and stuff. I feel it also makes sense that this one and also a few other Indian films that I've seen have multiple genres in the same movie. As in, like, you're not just going to see a horror movie. You want to have something that has a flavor for everybody. And I feel like that's how almost like that's how it's geared. It's like there's not like a specific genre. It's like this pure blend of 15 things going on at the same time.
Well, I think that's a great lead into, is it for beginners? I think this is all speculation, but this does feel like a very like maybe an Indian horror movie beginner type of thing where it is like this big blockbuster thing. You go to the theater, you could like be like pulled into, hey, I like supernatural stuff. This had other fun stuff, so I wasn't too scared or anything, but like now I'm ready to go like check out like a pure horror.
Pure horror. I can agree with that. I think it's like,
but if an American who's getting into horror, I would not recommend it. As an American that already likes horror, I would say, I mean, if you want to see an Indian horror movie that's kind of in 3 different genres, so only part of it is a horror movie.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong there. It has the aspects to be a very beginner thing, but it's really, I wouldn't recommend it. All right, our Kettle Harbinger Doom is flapping towards the window. We opened it up and let him on in to give us some warnings of domestic violence. And I laugh at that. I said,
domestic violence for sure. Even as slapstick as it gets in this,
it's a very
pun
different.
intended.
I think the big aspect of it is culturally, it's a different thing over there.
Mm-hmm.
But there is, if you are sensitive to anything like that, there is an instance of a man slapping a woman in it. So
she slaps him too.
Be warned of that.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's kind of oftentimes
there's this traditional
talking down,
sort
traditional
of like woman takes care of the man. It's sort of like what we think of here, at least, is like old school traditional family values where the woman knows her place and blah blah blah.
There is a heaping helping of misogyny in this movie that you kind of just have to go with.
But it's probably seen like it's also like, but this is light compared to what like
I wondered that too, yeah. And I'm sure it also depends on how religious you are, what part of the country you're in. This was also 12 years ago. Like, who knows?
Yeah, at this point, yeah. It's got age on it. And it's funny because you notice in the movie they prayed to Jesus. So they're Christians or Catholic or something like that.
I did not notice that.
They have I believe it is a framed picture of Jesus. And at one point she is praying towards it and stuff. So there is a lot of...
He goes to church.
Cool. I don't think that's any other big ones. Maybe we'll pop up something else, but let's go ahead and jump straight over here and buckle up and suckle up. Suckle up, suckaroos.
Suckle up.
Spoiler zone. All right, we're going to be starting over, not really at any IMDb behind the scenes. There's nothing for it that I figured was worth talking about here. Yep. Who picked this one? I picked this one. I'll admit to this.
Here we go.
I found this on Letterboxd under one of the top 250 like horror movies. It sat towards like the end of the list, but I was like, Indian horror movie, different. I wanted, of
course,
fuck it. I'm always trying to find something I haven't seen, something different, something from around the world. Awesome. This sounds great. The reviews were really well for it. There's one review that I take a problem with because I feel like I read it and it's like talking about like all this shit that sounded awesome. And then I'm like, when did that happen in this film? That didn't happen. What the fuck movie did you see? So that's pretty much why I picked it. No other history to it.
Is there another movie called Pizza?
There's several.
Well,
it
has sequels. There's 2 sequels to this movie.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're by both times by different writers and directors, I believe, and all different stuff. One of them's called like Pizza 2. I think Pizza 2. One of them has a mummy or something in it. I don't know.
What?
And there's been remakes of this. Like other countries have remade this movie.
Wow.
In the regions and stuff over there. I saw a few different remakes for Pizza.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. And I know you guys don't have any other history with it, so...
No, you had picked it, close. And I knew that was your reason, and now I'm here.
And here we are. I mean, let's get in to this fucking deep dish over here and talk about pizza.
Yeah, let's have a slice of this pizza.
So, I mean... Right off, we start with seemingly to be a horror movie. I mean, it's this like not black and white, but like night vision footage of like found footagey paranormal crew or something.
Before we get in,
Ross needs to tell his story.
Before we get into the movie, holy goddamn!
God, I should have said this earlier. First of all, if you try to watch this, I apologize. If you try to watch this on Hulu, there will be no subtitles, and you will have no idea what's happening.
Subtitles.
But you will get to see what Ross saw. The way we had to watch it was through Amazon Prime. You were able to rent it there, and that had working subtitles,
butchered subtitles. But at least you can still read something. So I pop it on Hulu, and this is before I knew that there weren't any subtitles in it. There is a fucking like cancer, smoking, mouth cancer, lung cancer PSA that legitimately lasts like 5.5 minutes. And I was like shocked. I was like, what the fuck am I watching? And then I also realized, like, what is that movie? Is it Guitar Wolf?
I forget what the movie's called, but that's the band. It might even be called that.
Okay, but in that movie, anytime they say rock and roll, a zombie gets shot in the head, or an explosion, there's like a little beer icon because there's a drinking game involved with it. This movie, anytime someone is smoking a cigarette, has a no smoking and anti-smoking thing on the bottom left or right-hand corner of the screen every time there's a cigarette in the movie, which I think is fucking amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a regional thing or something over there, but yeah, anytime anyone is holding a cigarette.
And he smokes a lot. The main character smokes a lot.
A comedic
Wild
amount.
Zero.
There's a scene,
Wild Zero is the
That's the name of it. Yep.
Yes.
Wild Zero. Yep. And like, there's a scene where like, we're in spoiler territory, so it's like towards the heist one that it's just a fucking minute and a half montage of him smoking in different angles and directions. Like,
sure. Yeah.
It's well made.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like everything. It's well made. There's some really nice cinematography at points. Some of it is kind of just like standard or whatever over the shoulder shots, but there is some really cool, fun stuff that they do with it. There's some nice set pieces. I really enjoy some of the vibes.
The production value
can kind of hit it at some points here.
Yeah.
But I think what the movie really lacks is, and it probably plays to that blockbuster feel, is that it's too long. Maybe this format could work if it was
only
a lot
2 hours,
shorter.
but
a 2 hour runtime
feels so long.
Yes, because it's almost like I think because of the genre mixing with each act being different, like for whatever reason, I feel like that contributes to it feeling longer than 2 hours.
Yeah,
the last 30 minutes of this movie was fucking excruciating.
Yeah, because like. I don't know about excruciating for me, but yeah.
This is, dude. This easily. It's like they had a 30-minute TV episode script that they drawn out like Laffy Taffy for 2 hours. It's, I don't know. It's.
I didn't feel that way about it.
Well, I'll say so it's kind of, like I said, it starts off with this haunted footage type of stuff and
found footage,
which I'm into it. I'm like, okay, 'cause again, no idea what we're walking into here, but as soon as like, you know,
but there's so much dialogue and you're trying to like keep up and rate it all, and the subtitles on Amazon are not good. It's full of spelling mistakes. Some of the translations are clearly literal. They didn't like change it to like get the essence of what it means so we can kind of get what's happening. I'm like, well, I guess that was a joke, but it's not funny to me.
But I like, so all of this, there's all this build up in this scene, and like it leads them to this like door that shuts on them, and they're trying to like bust it open, and they kick it open. That ultimately busts us into our first act, our first movie part here, which is what we kind of said, a rom-com essentially. It's setting up our main character of Michael and Anu and their relationship, and she's writing a novel or a book of sorts on paranormal stuff. She's really into it and researching it,
and he's not into it.
Not into it
because she's like part of what, like the College of like Psychology or something like that. Her movie collection was great though. There I saw Dead Alive. She's got some bangers.
Bunch of good
in her
stuff.
movie
I can't
collection.
remember, but
yeah.
Wreck. We see Wreck at one point. Is in there?
Yeah.
Yep.
The end scene of Wreck, which is fun. So they're like sitting at, watching this, which another thing I think is funny is like Michael turns it off. Anu grabs it, not 5 seconds later, turns it back on, and the credits are already rolling.
Yes.
What the fuck did they like?
I'm assuming it was like a TV show and it was just like a tune in next time type
yeah
deal.
Like you couldn't have missed that much like in this moment, but
I feel like it was the I don't know why, but it gave me like Blair Witch vibes where it's like they're just about to open the door and then it gets switched, because like in Blair Witch, like the whole twist thing happens within like a minute. You know what I mean? Like I feel it's like you get like the ghost jump happens like right when it gets turned off. But I agree with you. It's like, I hope this is a TV series.
Yeah. Well, all those ghost hunters are inconsequential to our story anyway. So
indeed.
At all.
Doesn't matter. Set us up for our first fucking 40 minutes or so of just like hanging out with them and setting up the life. and throwing in some montages. And
she's
Michael is
pregnant.
skeptical about paranormal stuff. Anu believes in it. She may have had some sort of encounter before.
Yeah,
Goes on, talks
have.
about all sorts of ghostly shit. But this is when we also do learn that Michael, he gets ready for work. He's a pizza delivery man. And we get our shot of them at the pizza shop. And there's this like old bearded man
pizza.
just like standing out front that they fucking harass.
Yeah,
he's just
like,
hanging out.
what are you doing here? Get out of here. Like, you can't be standing around here. What do you think you're doing?
Yeah.
And like,
And I like how the boss comes out. He goes, maybe invite him in because he might be a fucking customer.
Yeah. There are. So it doesn't list this movie as a comedy, but it's definitely meant to be funny.
I saw somewhere like comedy. Yeah, it is meant to be funny. Yeah, for sure.
IMDb doesn't have it listed that way, but because I genuinely chuckled at more than a few scenes.
Yeah, and there's some things that, again, where the subtitles just don't get it. Like there's a time where Michael's sort of zoning out because it's when he and Anu are having problems, and the guy's like, "Do you have change for this?" And he's like, "Hey, I said, do you have change for this? Hey, do you have change for this?" He's like, "No, I don't have any change at all," or something. And the guy's like, doing too much or something, and closes the door. Anyway, the way the whole interaction goes, I'm like, this is clearly probably pretty funny. And I'm just not getting it.
Yeah, it suffers from that. I don't think there was any like official translation for this movie, so it just doesn't, you don't get that from it. But
I think you had said you thought AI might have done it, and that makes sense to me because it seems like a computer was just pretty much literally translating
This would be
the
funny.
dialogue.
And like if it didn't, I don't know if it was pulling from a script or whatever, but yeah, there's things that were just off about it. But we get there's basically setting up stuff at the pizza shop and everything, and then we get to another scene of like Michael coming back home. This is when he gets all upset about his shirt being left out in the rain and it's all wet. So he has a whole fucking tantrum that he goes on, and he's being
now he's gonna wear a stinky shirt.
Yeah, he can't wear the wet shirt. She was supposed to bring it in. Like, she's so careless. How could you be careless? Yeah, yeah. It's this is some of that talking down stuff. That's really
the massage.
Just like icky.
Like,
it's got that
God,
ick.
yeah. Although I do like the fact that she basically is like, fuck you. And like, I like her character in the fact where like he'll do this like just chauvinist bullshit. And then she's like, no, you can go fuck yourself. Like, I like that her character's like kind of puts a hard stop to 80% of the shenanigans.
Well, she stops him by saying that she's pregnant. And that kind of like halts the conversation of like,
and he suggests an abortion. Yeah. She's like, what, did we just meet yesterday? Like, we've known each other since we were school kids. Like, you're going to marry me and we're going to do it. And that was another thing that seemed like maybe it was supposed to be funny, whatever he was explaining, like, well, we'll get married in 2 years when things settle down and that'll be better. And she's like, well, who am I supposed to tell the kid's father is? And he's like, well, that's what I'm saying. And then she gets mad and storms off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't quite understand what was.
Those are that lost in translation stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's hard to just divide with it. And I feel like I assume a lot of the reviews being written for it are people that either understand the language and understand
Tamil.
what's
You said it's Tamil?
Yeah. And you can get that nuance to it and probably makes the movie a little bit better. But this is this beautiful shot too, because I believe they're like on the back of the house or whatever. It's like this
it's a
kind of
great
like wide angle kind of cool
you
shot
can see
that they're setting up there.
And their little back patio area.
Yeah. But Anu wants to, like you said, get married pretty much immediately. Michael's all hesitant. So then this is like another one of many montage scenes of basically being all upset. Rain. There's a lot of rain. There's a lot of water in this.
So much rain.
First,
a lot of water.
Fucking act, because we get a whole nother montage when they're happy, when they're in the rain and like water is like a broken faucet or whatever.
Yeah, broken faucet.
They're just like spraying her with the faucet, dragging her head under the faucet.
Oh god, it's wild. So Michael's working, Anu's worrying. I think at one point she texts him like, "I did go to the doctor. It's true. I'm pregnant." Like, because that was still part of their conversation. And then
they're ignoring each other's calls back and forth.
God damn it.
Like,
I thought the pump fake suicide on her part.
That's coming.
Because I don't know. Oh my God. That was like, what? Also, should they talk about
I don't think it was
ghosts in the beginning of the movie?
That's what it's supposed to be set up as.
Yeah,
I know, but
because she writes the note.
I assume
and then,
the note
she's
was
really depressed.
I've left. I left.
Well, so did I.
I
but
didn't
then
assume it was suicide.
Well, it's set up that way when he is supposed to be walking into the kitchen or the shower, whatever. The first thing he checks is like if somebody is hanging in the room, essentially.
I know. I was like, why didn't he read the note? Why is he assuming it's suicide? I'm assuming that she left him.
To make us think that it's suicide, to make us the audience worry,
the viewer,
and that. So I mean, it's not that I was worried. I was like, oh, are they going here? I didn't like. This is weird.
You were worried that this was what he was going to find. Yeah.
Also, in the beginning of the movie, too, what's her name talks about how her college roommate killed herself, and that she saw her ghost for like years after the fact, and she's like, I started questioning it and not getting scared about it since I saw her all the time. She could be in this very room right now. Where I'm like, wait, what?
Oh yeah, she loves fucking with him about all this ghost shit.
Oh yeah, big time.
Loves to mess with them. So Michael's hanging out with like his coworkers after shift or whatever. They essentially convince him, I think, to get married. After this is when he comes home to find the note, doesn't read it, gets all worried that it's a suicide, and like turns out she's just hanging out and she's mad at him. And
reading a book.
This is the last time that she's going to do his laundry. Is like basically what she tells him and all this stuff.
And that's what the note says, right?
Yes. Yeah. So
and then it's
what does he decide
just
to do?
a list of like 15 curse words after that. It's like, you fucking piece of shit, dork, jerk,
you
asshole.
Piece
like
of shit.
I love it. And I did like that comedy bit because you think it's like over, and then he like takes a breath and keeps listing the insults.
Yes. And I like the fact that his retort is pouring an entire pitcher of water onto her head.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is when we get into their slap match.
He smacks her.
Airplane level slapping in this. She slaps him, and then he slaps her, and then she slaps him, and then they just stare at each other. And then they like hug it out or some shit.
Well, the part that I really dislike though is when she slaps him, he slaps her, she slaps him, and then he does like another one where he's gonna really fucking do it, and she flinches, and I'm like, oh, that is awkward.
Punch a pregnant lady. The movie. Oh God.
Difference. But they love each other, and it's fine, and they're just gonna go elope. They get married. They do the whole thing, have their private ceremony. Nobody else is really involved, and they're together. So I think this is when we get our marriage love montage where they're playing in the rain, they're messing with the broken pipe faucet thing, and it's just like fucking it's ridiculous.
I like that song that plays during that one. I can't remember.
I find it
right now.
Every now and then one of the songs, like the main, I guess, theme song, I was like jamming along.
Oh yeah, the one that plays like during the montages of him just driving around or something that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. But this is still, I feel like at this point we're just dragging. We're still dragging. I'm like, okay, I get what we're doing. I understand the relationship. I understand where he works. I understand all this. Give me the horror. Give me the different thing. Give me something.
Ross said the last half hour was excruciating. From the first 40 minutes wasn't excruciating, but it was like, that was the harder part to watch for me, where I'm like, all right, let's fucking do something already.
I agree. I think the last bit got harder for me on rewatches. The first time I went in not knowing anything. So I kind of had fun-ish with the twists and all that kind of stuff that happens. Like, oh, okay, that's cute. But going into it again on the rewatch was not as fun, and that did get a lot more excruciating towards the end. All of it.
I didn't finish my rewatch. I've only watched this 1.5 times.
I watched it 2.5 times, and it's just existing. Yeah. So they elope, they play in the water. We get back to the pizza shop, and Michael's sent out because the manager needs him to go to I call the guy the manager, the owner. I don't know what he is of this
whoever he
place
is,
and everyone's relation to each other.
The boss.
Yeah. The boss man needs Michael to deliver some sort of file report to his house. This is a fun moment because I'm like, okay, finally we get something where we get essentially a jump scare-ish type of thing of when he comes to the door. There's a girl that just like pops up and slams on the glass pane window and like screaming and shouting.
It reminded me of the Mista lady from like Mista from let's say is it Billy Madison? I don't know why. It's just like just like the immediate bang and going like Mista, and then just the shuffling her away.
Yeah, so there's some young girl freaking out, screaming. I'm like, okay, finally, we're getting to something here. But I'm like, but he's not on a pizza delivery. What isn't he supposed to be delivering a pizza? Like I thought that. Anyway, I'm like,
why it's called pizza?
Yeah. He gets here. This is where we see. Oh wait. Some other women grab the girl back and they're like, go get the boss man. He needs to be here. Shit's going down or something like that. And I think maybe grab the exorcist dude too as well. Yeah, I don't know if he was already there or
the bearded guy from outside the pizza place.
Yeah, just taking a lot of notes.
Yeah. So they arrive. This is when we see a girl just like furiously scribbling in a notebook, like, you know, being like all creepy, demonic, possessed child girl. The bearded man from before is there at this point, and he's trying to get the girl to say her name. Eventually, she's like, Nitya.
Like
that's all she says. Voice. He continues asking, and then, are you seeking revenge? And then the girl just kind of slowly looks up and just stares at Michael. It's like, does this like long.
He's like,
long
shit.
He's like, oh, awkward. And after this, he's like, the exorcist is like, what is this, a show? Get him out of here. And he gets kicked out, and he's like, don't tell anybody what you saw here, and, you know, don't let anyone know about what's going on.
You don't need to tell the guys about this.
Yeah. And I do like, because then immediately the next shot is he's telling Anu everything that just happened. So, which, I mean, obviously you would.
Of course.
Fucking experience something like that, I would immediately tell my wife.
Yeah.
That'd be so much fun to talk about, wild to talk about, you know what I mean?
Oh my god, did you see this shit?
This was a weird one.
Yes.
Back when I fucking was delivering shit. God, that would have been wild. Weird. Makes you think. All right, we get another montage. This is the montage of like Anu playing tricks on him and freaking him out, and like they're watching various horror movies together, having a good time.
He seems like he's kind of developing an interest now because of
what he saw. He's like, oh, maybe this is a little interesting. And he's trying to like, he'll do things where he tries to scare her and she doesn't. She's like, nah, you're
the
dumb.
Fucking him with the flashlight in bed going,
so funny. Because he also just like, they're laying next to each other. He like rubs her shoulder. And so she kind of turns slowly and he's like there. But there's like no, that type of scare is a jump scare you do to a friend, you know, a surprise, a boo or something. And it's just like so slow. That is very silly, that one. I wonder if this movie, I mean, the blending of the genres may have been hard, but I wonder if our enjoyment may have been better had we gotten a good sub.
It could have, but I also think it would have been better if it wasn't so long, tightened up.
Yeah,
it needed to have a blend of this whole first act tightened and then blended into what the horror stuff a little bit more. Like get that shit going, and then just, I don't know,
maybe cut out the heist part.
We'll get into the third act stuff soon, and is that necessary and whatnot. So after all this happens and we get another montage, Michael gets the delivery call, but before he leaves, boss man needs a favor and asks Michael to drop something off at the house. I do like, there was the boss is like, don't worry, my daughter will not kill you.
I assure you, my daughter will not try to kill you.
Yeah, that was cute. And then Michael leaves. This cuts to the boss pulling up to the pizza shop in his car. The two other workers are out front looking all beat up, and Michael's just sitting on the floor.
Crisscross applesauce.
Another shot that I really liked is just the shot of Michael on the floor crisscross. Yeah, big shot inside the pizza place.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Great. Yeah. A lot of really cool stuff like that in here. And the manager, boss man, whatever, comes into the shop, tells Michael to stop crying, and is like, tell me what happened. And this is when we get to essentially Act 2. The delivery of
the horror story.
Night, the horror story. All right. And then before that, real quick, we do get a shot of them making the pizza. Not a good looking pizza.
No.
Not good looking pizza.
Pit Stop Pizza looks fucking terrible.
I don't want it. It looks like microwave pizza or something. I don't know.
It reminds me, you know, when you were a kid and it was like, it wasn't the Easy Bake Oven, but it was like the kids' version of make your own pizza, where like that's what I feel it is. Like it's basically like they throw it into a giant creepy crawler machine. It just poops it out at the end.
Yeah, there's just a light bulb underneath it. Fucking 60 watt under there.
Yeah.
All right, so our delivery happens here. Michael goes out on the call. He gets to this really nice looking house. Gets called inside. She's like, oh, okay, bring it in here. There's just a woman in a robe. Looks like she just got out of the shower. It's like, ooh, it's going to get steamy in here. And, you know.
I don't have any change. Hey, is there any other way I can pay
I don't
for
have
this?
any change. There's a lot of, like innuendo almost happening. But basically, TV's playing. It's a real nice house. Nice open floor concept and everything here. And I think it's like two levels or something. Because at one point, there's like, this is again, our problems of things just taking too long. She's trying to find change for this order for like 5 minutes.
They have a conversation on this change forever. Yeah. It's like, he's like, ma'am, would you like me to go back to the restaurant and get it? No, let me check over here. Oh, you know what? It's not here. Let me check over there. Oh, you know what? But not that fast as I'm doing it. It's like,
yeah, exactly. Oh, let me go upstairs. I think I have something upstairs. She goes up and gets her purse and comes down. And like, even like now finally something spooky's about to happen. Like there's like the TV's playing, all this stuff is happening. The lights flicker out. She just pulls out a flashlight and just starts looking for change some more. And continue looking for change.
Like it's just because it happens all the time.
Maybe it's upstairs.
Also, the layouts of all of these houses, including his house. Michael's house is like supposed to be like a slum, and it's like 2.5 stories. It's got a bunch of like this one.
Michael's
these are
like
really
a
nice
studio
houses.
Apartment.
Say what?
Michael's house is like a studio apartment.
Well,
essentially,
like,
but it does have some sort of second floor.
There is like a
but
second.
I don't think that's theirs.
They walk up it.
Yeah.
Do they? There's a stairway in their house, in their area that they walk up. Like he walks up it a few times in moments when he's like looking for a new and stuff like that. I don't know the layout of it.
Yeah.
But my thought was, his house was nice.
Yeah.
It's not as nice as what the house that we're in right now or whatever. But he's in here. She's like, oh, let me take the pizza. I can go put it in the hot pack or something, she says. Like, I don't know, some like heating thing, which is upstairs. So she goes upstairs, which is just leaving Michael downstairs with like one lit candelabra, and like there's all these really weird creepy paintings of like sad children and shit around the house.
Just very bummed out. A gallery of very depressed children.
And there's a lot of creepy elements here, but it's just drawn out that I find myself
I kept
falling
waiting for a jump scare, and it takes so long that like I just completely forgot about it.
And not in a good way. Where like
only
when a
get
jump
one
scare
at the end of the whole thing.
The jump scare gives you like the pump fake and then like puts you in a false sense of security and then does it. It's like I was waiting for the jump scare, but then it came so late that it was completely ineffective.
Sure. I mean, I like what happens, what it does lead to. We do eventually get to him being like, okay, where is this woman? Like, I'll go look for her. He goes upstairs, makes his way to her bedroom, and then she's just like pinned on the wall. Like,
like,
oh, shit. At first he sees a slice of pizza is missing and like a partially chewed slice is on the ground. So at this point I was like, oh, great. So like actually, I think it's the next one when we see another slice missing. I was like, oh, cool. The rest of the haunting is going to be told through missing
eating
slices of pizza.
Yeah.
Like, this will be fun. No.
Sure. Nope, we don't get that. We do get a fun shot of, she's like 4 feet up on this wall, pinned to it, like stabbed or something like that. Her head tilts. He freaks out, and then we get a whole bunch of him running around this house,
checking every window and door, and they're all locked.
I start off, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm ready. Stuck into this haunted house, can't get out.
Every single fucking thing, like it takes so long.
It's like fucking, what is that, Friday the 13th? Where she like goes.
The first one.
No, the first. The only scare that I got in this entire fucking movie is probably an accident. It's when Michael is running from the upstairs to the downstairs, back to the upstairs, back to the downstairs, and he runs into the room that has the full wall mirror. Because when he runs in, it looks like there's someone behind him. And that legitimately, like, I got a little like, ooh, oh shit.
Ooh.
And then I realized by the 5th time that they did the same scene over again, I was like, oh, it's a fucking mirror. Oh, all right.
See, the jump scare did work for me by the time we got to it, but only because I was like totally unguarded by that point, because I was like, all right, like I wasn't ready for it.
This leads to more of him again running around the house trying to figure out what's going on. At one point he does make his way back upstairs, and I do like this. She's not on the wall anymore. That's fun. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
There's maybe this creepy thing. We get more shots of like pizza being eaten.
I like hearing the phone ringing. Like his phone's not working, and he hears the phone ringing in the other room, so he knows it's working. So he's got to like go back in there to get it. Creates a nice moment of tension, but that doesn't do anything with it.
Yeah, he can't make, like, I think he has a prepaid phone and he can't make a call, but I think he can accept a call or however it works on it. Yes. So he sends like an email, I think, to a new, being like,
girl, call me.
I need help. But I do really like also, so then we do get the introduction of this other mysterious man who shows up outside the house, and we get the phone of the woman, I believe, ringing.
Yes.
And he picks that up, and again, it keeps doing these things. I'm like, shorten it up. Like, you keep introducing these things, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Oh, there's someone on the outside now. You can't talk to each other between the door or whatever because you're stuck in this weird pocket dimension. But you're on the phone and you can talk. I'm like, okay, cool. That's awesome. Oh, and then when the guy's like, oh, you need to go upstairs. You need to run down to the second door on the left and do this. I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun and cool. Him like navigating, having to tell him how to navigate. That's fun. That's presents a lot of opportunity for scary shit to happen. But
when he asks him to go up the stairs into the hallway into the different room to go grab the spare key, I literally thought that this guy had murdered his wife, and then the second Michael opens the drawer, he grabs the gun and puts his prints all over the gun, where I was sitting there going like, oh my god, what a fucking dumbass way of framing a guy for murder. Where just be like, oh, BT Dubs, just pick the gun up and then just put the gun back down and then just leave it there with your prints on it and then grab the
ultimately
key.
He does get the key and he runs back down and the guy's not there anymore. He's
and then you hear like gone, what, the gunshot is upstairs?
Yeah, and then we get pulled back. We get pulled around a lot here, and this is where I think I could start getting a little bit confused because I feel like we keep running into the same fucking thing happening of him running around, being scared.
Ghosts are behind him.
At one point, I don't remember if it's the ghosts are behind. We get an intermission. That's what
we do get an intermission. Yep.
That lettering is that comes up. Yeah. So that's our. I don't know. It's so weird to have an intermission in the middle of
this
what's supposed to be a high tension scene.
Yeah.
I
agree. Intermissions typically come at act breaks.
Well, they determined the break here is like he runs downstairs and we get creepy dolls turning heads now.
Oh, this is like a child's room, right?
No, this is before that. She's like upstairs in a random room and there's all these like weird they're not crucified.
Oh, there's that one head that like turns
all
slowly,
weird clay heads and shit where you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it's like it moves behind him and then he looks at it and then it kind of camera zooms in and it turns and then that's what cuts us to our intermission.
Yeah.
Wild. So after this,
I guess something's about to happen then. That must be what that meant, but not really.
cuts us back to the house. We're back in the house, and this is when we get the whole landline phone play start to happening.
Right.
Which
Landline
again, I think
rings,
is a cool.
It's not plugged in, but it's calling his cell number. It's a cool device.
Exactly.
Concept.
It's a new on the phone. She's like, I called your cell, but this is what happened here. He's like, I need you to call the cops and send them here. So he gets off the phone with her. Then the phone rings again. And she's like, are you at the police station? He's like, no, what are you talking about? She's like, I called the cops, but this is where it called me. Right. Or this is what it led me to. So again, I thought that was cool because then it's like, oh my God. Then you think, because I was, of course, I'm thinking, are we in any sort of time loop? Because we get some pizza play. I don't know if it's at this point or what point, like the pizza's whole again at one point, right?
Yep.
Like we get another shot of that. I'm like, oh, okay, time loop. Maybe a news stuck in it somewhere else. And like they'll only be able to communicate through this phone stuff. I'm like, I'm trying to give it as much as leeway as possible. I'm like, come on, like people are fucking raving about this movie. Something has to happen. when is it going to get gooey? When is something going to change here? But needless to say, it doesn't really until we get some like ghosts fucking like popping up and just doing a little scary stuff, like standing behind them.
That was a cool moment. Yeah. When we as the audience see them and he doesn't know they're there, we're like, all right, cool.
We do get, and this is to kind of like tie it all around. We do get the shot of him in the living room or whatever it is. And you see a little ghostly figure off in the distance. And it's the little girl there. And she's scribbling in that. And we get a little Nitya stuff.
Scribbling the same way. Yeah.
Exactly. But then ultimately some cops show up. And he's just all like freaking
Howard
out.
comes back on.
Slap cops.
What's that?
Slap cops. They're just slapping around. Just
Oh yeah, you gotta have some slap cops. I do like the scene. There is another part in here too where he's getting frustrated again and checking everything, where he takes like a pipe or a bat or something and is just like hitting everything in the house and nothing's breaking.
he's
like glass or TV or anything like that. And I was like, I thought that was cool. That like, so this is like some weird pocket dimension house thing.
It was cool conceptually, but it also, I thought, had like a comedic element to it. You know, it amused me that everything he went up to, it was almost like a dream where like a dream logic where you have a baseball bat and everything you hit, like it's like you can't really swing it or hit anything.
Right.
I guess I wasn't paying attention enough because I literally was like, oh, he's just smashing a bunch of shit in the house. Huh.
Yeah, no, it wasn't smashing. That's the thing.
No, none of it was smashing.
Yeah, you could use this as the first time when he's trying to get out or do anything with it.
Right.
Like tighten all that shit up. Use these devices earlier and quicker and bring it all together. But eventually, yeah, our cops show up and they lead he's freaking out. There's points where he gets like invisible scratches on his back and like all these like invisible scratches.
Oh
and
yeah,
all this
right before
shit.
they come through. Yeah, on his arm and his back, he's just all these cuts start appearing. Cool, great. But
wonderful.
They stop with that quickly, like
Yep, and snaps us right out of that, and we really don't return to any horror for this movie. It all changes pretty quickly after this point.
Well, it becomes like a psychological thing for a little bit because what the cops tell him is basically like, hey, this place was haunted. The
4 ghosts,
whatever,
not
the dad killed the mom, or however it happens. The family, the whole family died. Somebody in the family murder-suicide type of thing. And there was also a body of a woman found outside. Is what they tell him, right? The
cops. College student of psychology.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, what was that name that you said earlier? Anu? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
she
who
had
it was.
the same name. Yeah.
Which is nuts. What also kind of fucked me up too in this house is that there's the little girl, the mom and the dad, but in the house, there's a portrait of a mom and a dad and a little boy.
Is it a little boy?
It is a little boy. And I'm like,
it was them.
I just started laughing. I was like,
them.
Oh, what? No, I thought it was a little girl too. I could be completely wrong, but I thought like the first shot where like there's a family.
I'm going to go with you're completely wrong.
Okay, yeah. Anyone else is watching pizza?
I really don't know. Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's go back into the pizza. Who wants to reheat the pizza and
there you go.
See what the portrait looks like. But yeah, so all this happens. It all just ultimately lead to Michael being like, I need to leave this house. He runs out, and then like the cop is like, gets grabbed by something and it's like, help me, and then gets pulled, gets sucked off
wrecked
screen.
out of there.
Or kind of just like sucked
in screen,
back screen,
wreck style, Quarantine style,
wreck style, exactly. And we get that. That's the wreck shot we get when they're watching wreck later, and that ends this whole situation, which takes us back to, I believe, the pizza shop, where the story was being told and everything. No, he runs to Anu first, maybe.
No, he runs to the brothers on the bridge.
He's and he gets looking for Anu. He can't find her still.
He leaves the house. He runs home.
Yeah.
Looks for Anu.
She's not there.
Can't find her. Finds the brothers or the coworkers on the bridge.
His friends that
they get into a slap fight
in the first part.
Yes.
Yeah, they fight each other. That's how they're all beat up and cut up from what we saw. And I think that's supposed to be funny. They're fighting, right?
I think it is too. I don't know why they're fighting so hard.
They are really beating the shit out of each other.
Again, I feel like maybe we had a lost in translation thing there.
They just beat the shit out of each other over in India a lot more. Best friends are just doing a curb stomping. Do we need to be doing this?
Curb stomping.
Spooky
baby.
It's spooky baby. So yeah, so that leads us to this is what happened, and we're back in the pizza joint. And now the rest of the movie, like you said, it starts becoming this thing of Michael just seemingly losing his mind, becoming
which I kind of liked
scared.
this part, or this stuff before it got to the heist, because I'm like, you know what? You never see somebody it's rare that the whole movie's The Haunting. It's not dealing with the psychological impact of having been in the haunted house.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, cool. And he's having the phantom. He thinks he's bleeding at work. His back's cut and stuff, and
he's having a hard time breathing and catching his breath and
The idea of a chain smoker with a fucking inhaler to me is amazing. By the way.
Well, it was funny because I noticed when I was first watching it too. I'm like, he does not use that inhaler properly, which we come to find out later. He's not using it properly on purpose, but
yes,
right.
There's this whole other thing too of is Anu. No, they're like, we've never met her. He says he's known her forever. We've never actually met her. Is she real and stuff? And I thought that was interesting. I'm like, oh shit, is this a, we can't trust our narrator? He just told this story. Did this how crazy is he? Is all this stuff really happening? What is all this? So I was interested in that. But this ultimately continues to drag on. This whole thing of
they keep hammering this home for too long.
Yeah. Am I scared of things?
Well, too long for really what ends up happening.
Yeah. And then let's just get to that part here because, like I said, everything keeps dragging on here. More montages. Plenty more montages. But ultimately, we get our reveal. So he's going out on a delivery and then it all starts happening. He pulls out his wallet and pulls out his phone, takes the battery out, pulls out the SIM card. What?
Wallet. It's a lady wallet.
He pulls out his wallet and there's another SIM card in there. He pops that into his phone and makes a phone call. And then we get this shot of the beach at the poolside. Anu picks it up and she's like, hey, and it's what is going on? And then we get this
what is happening? It really, it is a legitimate what is happening woman. I can give it that credit.
And then we get our big fucking reveal and turnaround of what all happened here. And it was a heist.
Yeah.
Because on that
Ocean's
night
Pizza.
So there's a lot going on. So the possession of the boss's daughter is a real thing. That's happening.
Yes.
Michael went out, experienced that event. And then when he was meant to go over to the house the other night on the night of this delivery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He told the boss, I'll have to do it afterwards or whatever. The boss was like, fine. On his way there, he gets into an accident where he falls off his bike.
Yes.
That's where we see that the back of his shoulder gets scraped up
from.
And he's carrying this box of candies or something that the boss gives him. And within that is this little baggie full of fucking diamonds or whatever.
Diamonds.
Right? What happens is, right, he falls, he goes back home because he needs to change. He can't go to, that's why he can't go to the customer looking like this. So he goes back to home to where Anu is. Anu is like cleaning up his backpack and he's like, can you reheat the pizza? I can't deliver it late. That's all this is happening. While she's cleaning up the candies is when she finds this bag of diamonds that the boss has for
a sack of diamonds.
Some reason.
Wait a second, you told me this was legal. They're gonna raid the pizza joint. You have to put it in. Like, what?
But they're watching you, so you can't leave.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the call he got before he called Michael in to give him this package to deliver. He like hid it in a candy tin.
Yeah, so Michael and Anu hatch up this plan to steal these diamonds and come up with this idea that he's going to go to this house that's this known house where this murder, suicide, whatever happened there with these people.
And the
happened.
2 cops died there too.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to tie it all back to the boss's daughter with Nitya and stuff. If he keeps them scared, they won't go into the house, which is where he left the bag, which is supposed to still have the diamonds in there and everything. So that's it. Ross loved this part.
Oh my God. Just that, it was it's barely a horror movie. And then you're just like, but what you saw was bullshit. And you're just like, oh, God damn it. God fucking damn it.
Yeah, the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, this is fun. I guess I see what you're doing here. But I'm like, this is nowhere like near the levels that I see people talking about this movie.
Yes.
I'm like,
right.
And I feel that
I get it.
I'll be totally honest with you. Like, I don't see, and again, maybe maybe my perception of the movie is askewed, but I don't think it blends these genres. I feel like each genre,
it's like 3 distinct stories,
rear-ended the other genre in a fucking 3-car pileup. Like, there's no gradual transition between these. You know what I mean? Like, it just goes gaga.
And there isn't enough of a separation, I think, of the segments. Each of the segment isn't good enough on its own, in my opinion. The ghost story's cool enough, but it doesn't.
It's because everything just goes on a bit too long, and all storylines. I guess except for the heist, maybe they wrap that up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean that is a lot. Well, surprise! I mean, all this happens and everything. So he's on the. We get this reveal of him calling Anu, throwing out the whole plan, everything that has happened here, and it's while he's on the way to make another delivery, like not a final delivery. They're setting up the plan. She's like trying to get passports. They're ultimately wanting to go to America. She's somewhere different, waiting for him.
And he's like,
it may take me 2 weeks. It may take me 2 months. I have to feel it out.
Everyone believes me.
Yeah.
Right.
And make sure no one's sus that, we took these diamonds or whatever.
I gotta keep acting like a crazy person and that you're not real. I think he even says they maybe even think you were never real to begin with. This is like,
ooh, my ghost lady.
Which is beneficial from the Exorcist guy suggests that he's like, have you met this Anu? She could be a ghost too, like playing a trick and everything. But that's not the case. They get off the phone. He's like, I gotta go. He pulls out his wallet again and probably puts all his shit away.
His wallet?
Yeah, his wallet. And goes off to do his final delivery, or not, I keep saying final delivery of the movie. And he gets there, and it's this older woman, answers the door. She's like, come on in, leave the pizza. How much is it? He's like, $4.35. And he's like,
that's the same as total from my made-up ghost story.
My made-up story. Wait a minute. The same song and TV show is playing from my made-up story. Wait a minute. There's a similarly looking little photo from my made-up story here. And then lights flicker out or whatever, and the door slams shut, and that's pretty much it.
There's a little girl.
And
he's like, oh my fucking God! And then that's it. Yeah.
Cool. Ross, I believe that's what,
So it all is real and now happening, or what? Yeah.
Who fucking cares? That was stupid. I did not like that stamp. I would have.
Me neither. I'm getting real sick of these horror. That is a horror movie trope. Which, I guess maybe that makes it more of a horror movie because of the ending. But I'm getting real sick of when movies do it just to do it. And like, because sometimes it just betrays everything you just watched, which
it does.
I kind of feel like is the case in this one.
Yeah.
You know,
it betrays. I mean, it betrays
not
the
totally,
twist,
but it's like, so what is? Yeah, why would this whole made up thing that he just did for this whole twist ending now, in fact, be real? Because it's not like they were basing their thing on a real haunted story. They made up the whole haunted story.
Right.
It'd be one thing, you know, if he had like based it on a already existing legend and then somehow walked into that legend, but that's not what it was.
I don't know. I think maybe something is supposed to be when he, the possessed girl Nitya or whatever is doing it to him, because like the boss says something like, I don't know what sort of sin you could have committed. So I think there probably is some sort of like, I don't want to know if it's a cultural legends of sorts or something like that with this type of spirit with like maybe
like a curse or something like
it's
that.
It's a curse type of thing because of what he did. It comes true type of stuff.
What did you do?
She always knew he was going to steal. Who fucking knows? And I just think it was like, I think if you're going to have the twist of being like, it was like this fucking Ocean's 11 heist type of thing,
just stick with it.
Make that your point. And then that could be fun.
With those two on the beach or those two walking away from a fountain.
Exactly. Let's have fun with it rather than whatever this, I don't know, the storm. Is it supposed to be funny? Is that supposed to be like a comic fun twist at the end type of thing? Who knows? But I didn't care for it.
Or I feel like if you're going to do the twist of a twist of a twist and it's actually something haunted, like really make it haunted, not just have like an eerie coincidence that 4 things in your story happen simultaneously. You know what I mean? Where it's like, let's give me like a Bloody Mary or give me something like super fucking creepy as the end note. Like give me a good jump scare or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It was just got a little lackluster.
There's something weird. I don't know. The other thing I did remember is that, the little Nitya girl comes out at the end. I don't know why she does this weird thing where she just like stares at him, kind of like sticks her tongue and presses it into her cheek. And I'm like, this is weird. I don't like this. Let's end this and get out of here.
You're too young to do that.
You're too young. Stop. That's it. That's pizza. Would you have another slice? Probably not. Let's send this one back here and fucking send it into the fucking oven and crematate.
Marinate on that crematate.
Crematate it. All right. This pizza is in the oven. It is burned up and burnt to an ash. So we got some questions to ask of it. First of all, are we surviving? You think we're going to survive the movie Pizza? I mean,
not a second watch.
I don't know if I'm going to survive eating one of those pizzas.
I barely survived the first watch. I don't know if I can survive a second watch.
I mean, where are we even in danger at the final 10 seconds of the film?
Like,
what would happen to you after that?
Like there's so much that we would have to, all the cards would have to line. We're the pizza, we're Michael, we get into this situation. I mean, I think we're fine.
I don't know how to die in this situation.
I don't know what to do to die. I guess just go to that house at the end.
I mean, I guess you have to keep the illusion.
But does that kill him? We don't know what'll happen.
Well, if I'm assuming that if your boss finds out you stole the diamonds, he'll probably kill you. So it's just, you just have to pretend that you're still being haunted by a ghost. That's pretty much the survival for this.
Yeah.
That guy's a good actor. He has to do a lot of different stuff in this movie, you know, like
I think
range wise. I think it makes sense that he's been in 50 movies since this.
Yeah. So then I know the answer to this. How many Chuttlemen need to be sacrificed to survive this one? I think is 0, because we're all going to be able to we don't need to throw anyone.
3, because it's the 3 people that died in the house. All 3 of us, we can become ghosts.
But that's not... How does that help us survive this movie?
It doesn't. Rouse just killed us all, so... Yeah. How do you feel about the goo level? The goo level is non-existent, so just give me some. Maybe it would have made me happier if like the horror aspect was that much more brutal or anything.
A squinch of ectoplasm, something. Come on.
Or, some twisted like movement, broken neck, like distorted bodies, something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
She talks about early in the movie when her roommate killed herself, how her tongue hangs out down to her. Like, show me that. Like,
I was expecting that for half the movie.
To see it at some point, for sure.
Yeah, we don't get it. So any of that stuff would be greatly appreciated. Non-existent. Villain level? Who is our villain in this? Lithia or whatever?
Society.
Like
Nitya.
The caste system.
I'm going to go like 0. Can we do that?
Yeah, because
you can. I'm going to go a 2. 2 for power level, iconography 0. I think she is somewhat powerful if she is able to ultimately loop him into making a stupid pizza delivery that entraps him theoretically into a half. If that's what happened, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. But that's hardly anything. Sam says 0.
I'll just go in the middle. I'll do 1.5 for point.
0.5 on both.
0, 1, 2.
Iconography, huh?
Yeah, it's little child creepy. That works.
Yeah.
You want pizza 2? Do you think there needs to be another pizza reheated? Pizza 2 reheated.
No. Yes. If we're going down the route that everything's real now, I want pizza 2 to be Michael just delivering pizzas to a bunch of different monsters' houses. Like, he didn't believe anything in the first one, so the second one is just every mythological and horror creature you could possibly think of ordering pizza.
I love it. What if they're all together and he delivers a pizza to the Monster Mash?
Well, that sounds like a good
I heard
Act
it was a
1.
great
What are you
smash.
going to do for Act 2?
Exactly. You got to change it up. That's Act 2. That doesn't happen. Like, you got to start at
Right.
If you're really playing it to the pizza, that the supernatural stuff stays in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's not real till the very end again. Yeah, I have nothing good for it. I don't want a sequel. I don't want to come up with a sequel idea because I just don't care to.
Yeah.
Pizza 2, full throttle. Why not? You buying the soundtrack or score on vinyl? No. There's a couple songs that I'll listen to maybe.
No, but I might actually listen to. Yeah, I mean, there's one in particular that's just kind of catchy. It's the main romance song, like dee da dee da dee da dee da. That one.
That's
perfect.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big no for me.
That's gonna be a no for me, dog. All right. What promotional item would you create for the film? I mean, pizza boxes, pizza
slicer. Yeah.
Pizza slicer. That's good. But
pizza slicer, or honestly, like a pizza bag, like a messenger bag that just has the pit stop.
Yeah, there you go, like a messenger. Yeah, that
it's
works.
not quite merch, but it goes to it's a promo thing. I would do a pizza food truck for Pit Stop Pizza. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, like a pop-up food truck.
Ugly little pizzas.
And then is there a prop that you want from the film? Or anything that would be prop worthy? Jeez.
Diamonds.
Maybe a news DVD collection, because there were some good ones in there.
Take some of his DVDs.
Yeah, just steal some
watch them
other movies for this movie.
And the player, because you need the regional player.
Absolutely.
Oh sure.
God. Okay.
She had some R.L. Stein. That'd be cool.
It's so fucking. Oh my God, the R.L. Stein book would be hilarious. There is. I forget what part of the movie it is, but it's like Anu is just drinking coffee out of this cup. And it says, you can't have joy. It's some weird schlock. I just want that mug.
Funny cup.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll take the funny
I'll
mug.
take the scooter.
Ooh.
Oh, well played.
I'll take the diamonds.
Yep.
That was the first thing I said.
I know.
So you can't have
Fine.
They belong to Sam.
They belong to Sam.
All right, guys. Let's jump on over to our ratings.
Ooh.
I only want your fingers.
Should we all cut our fingers open and bleed on it?
Can you wrap your fingers around this?
I'll take a Voorhees burger and a slide of Jason's fingers.
Show them.
This is where we are going to show you how many fingers we are going to chop off and throw into the grave. That is on a scale of 0 to 5, cutting off 0.25 on our little scale
I got
here.
the vapors. That's the first. If this is your first time listening, that's the first time we've ever heard that
That's
sound
a great
drop for
drop.
our ratings, and I'm all flustered here.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. It was fun. Those were clips from a couple of Friday the 13th, Blair Witch Project, and Club Dread.
Yeah.
So a lot of finger talking.
Outwaters, right?
The Outwaters would show them at the end there. So our scale here likes to rate a movie on how we feel. I'm going to kick it off to Ross because I want to hear how he feels first. Ooh. And then I'll ring it off, and then Sam will clean it up at the end. So Ross.
Okay. So
get it going.
Engaging is going to get a, oh God, man, I'm going to be generous and give it a 0.5. It took me a while to get through this movie, and this movie takes a while, to be totally honest with you. But on the flip side of that, Sticky gets a full point for me because there is such ludicrous shit in this that I'm never going to forget it. Like slap fight, there's so much slapping. There's so much slapping in this fucking movie. Like there's the amount of chain smoking that's in this, including when she's describing the heist plan to him and he's just like moving 1,000 different directions and then having the smoking on there. The smoking logo at the bottom of the screen alone constitutes a 1 because I'm never going to fucking forget that.
Sure.
T-shirtable is a goose egg. I like pizza, but not this kind of pizza. Nothing on this is really perking my interest.
You'd rather have a shirt for regular pizza.
Mm-hmm. Cockles is, Cockles is going to get a 0.25 because some of the stuff I thought was interesting, but nothing delivered. And then they just took it back by the third act. So
it didn't deliver, huh?
They did not. Yeah. Hey. And honestly, I think 0.25 is being generous, but I do like some of the things that they were trying to imply with the horror story involved in it.
Sure.
Rewatchable is going to get a 0 for me. Sure. I am not gonna. I don't know, unless. Honestly, the only way that I'm going to watch this movie again is if someone wants to have a pizza marathon, as in if we're watching all of the pizza movies, including its sequels, which I feel is
I haven't heard good things about the sequels, so
which I think is
that's
more of a
rough marathon.
It's like a pain Olympics. It's like how much can you endure? Pizza the marathon. But yeah, no, I think that's where I'm
Let's do it at
1.75. Pizza.
Is it 1.75?
Mm-hmm.
God, that's way too high.
Oh wow.
What can I nuke?
Your cockle, you're Sticky. You gave a full 1 to Sticky, which I find interesting.
Yeah.
Me too.
You know what? Let's just do a 0.5 to Sticky.
Okay.
With that fucking beautiful intro, I feel bad for the less amount of fingers that I'm hacking off for this movie because of that sweet intro. But yeah, was it 1.25? Yeah, that feels way better.
All right, I'll kick us off. Engaging, I'm going to give it a 0.5 as well because it's like moments would get you engaged and then you would quickly fall off from it. I do want to give it a due for those moments where I was engaged for it. So I think a 0.5 hits it. Sticky is a tougher one because, like you said, there's a lot of, I don't know, bonkersness to it. I think I'm going to remember a lot of bit of this conversation. I remember the fact that this movie is like 3 different boring movies in one that just like take too long to do anything. So, I mean, I think I'll stick on that, but it's not going to be something I'm going to be needing or wanting, or it's just going to be in my mind thinking about. 0.5. T-shirtable, I got to give it the goose egg as well. I don't care to have a pizza t-shirt. I don't. Yeah. I mean, if you like this movie, great, but I'm sorry, this is not something I need to be representing. Like Sam said, I'll just wear a t-shirt for just pizza. Cockles, I'll give a 0.5 as well. It kind of goes back to that engaging thing, because when there's things that I like happening on screen, I enjoy it. And I'm like, ooh, this is fun. I can get into this. I could be here for this. But it didn't pay off. And then rewatchable, it's gonna get the goose because I watched this 2.5 times, and that half time, that second time was a
chore.
chore to move along. And that's the thing that's not beneficial, in my opinion, about this movie is the rewatchability on it, because once you know that twist and you know everything that is just really nothing, it's like, it's not fun. And unless you really love these characters and the way they interact, like, you're getting something out of it that we're not able to from the language barrier type of thing. But 1.5, that's where it's going to sit.
If the comedy played a lot more, it would totally change.
Oh, for sure.
My reaction to the movie.
So that's 1.5 from me. Sam, clean us up.
Yeah, it's I think mirroring you, maybe. We got a 0.5 for engaging because same thing. The parts I liked, I'm interested, I'm watching, and then the other parts, it's like, yeah, you don't have to do this again, move on. So 0.5 there. Sticky's also a 0.5. I think mostly what I'll remember is just how it's 3 different movies shoved together. But I don't think I'll forget that. So 0.5 there. T-shirtable is also a big old 0 because, no, man, I don't like it. Cockles 0.5 for the same thing as Sticky. The moments that work. I like some of the songs, I like some of the shots, just the overall sort of atmosphere, vibe, whatever, but it just never lasts long enough, and when it turns to like disliking. And then last, definitely never gonna watch this again. I watched it 1.5 times. And I just ran out of time to finish it the second time, but I watched it in parts because I kept being like, I don't want to fucking watch this again. Like, I'd much rather watch something I haven't seen before or whatever. So 1.5 feels fine for me.
Fantastic. Now, I know the club didn't really have much to say. They didn't know what this movie was. I know our witchy brethren, Evan, watched the Hulu version.
Some of it on Hulu with you didn't watch the whole thing, I don't believe, but the beginning.
With no subtitles, so.
Yeah,
that could have been
not knowing what's happening.
Yeah. Good luck to you.
What an amazing human.
So we got nothing on there, but within our Chuttle score, it's at like a 1.4, which is super low on our list. The only thing right below it is Halloween Ends, Antichrist, and Next Generation, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Next Generation. That's right below it. Right above it, Curtains at a 1.5. Cheap Thrills at a 1.7, our first movie. Yeah. This did not fare well. And I mean, which
is crazy because didn't you say that I'm not on Letterboxd. This is ranked pretty highly on Letterboxd.
Yes, and that's I think I mentioned that in the beginning, and that's what I was expecting.
4-star reviews.
I was hoping that we were going to find some like kind of
hidden gem
or something like that. It seemed like, based on what people said, it's got a 3.6 overall, but you look at some of these things, and here's the one I found, the one that got me. It's a 5-star review. And it said, haunted houses, dead cops, fucked up dolls, worm infestations, dismembered ghost women, brutal street fights, genre authenticity, and cerebral narrative deconstruction. Like, I stopped reading at some point, but I'm like, this sounds like there's a lot of like cool shit. I don't know what worm infestations were, but I was like, this sounds like it's going to get gooey and weird.
Yeah.
It's 244 on the 250 highest rated horror movies on Letterboxd. It's 244. I just found it.
So yeah, I mean,
wild.
But the bottom of this, because I go here a lot to look for movies, the bottom of this list fluctuates a lot.
Oh, okay.
I would say the bottom like 15, 10, something like that.
So that's where it's at. That's where it is with us. Let us know if you guys end up checking this one out, or if you just sat through it with us. I'd say just sit through it with us. And I mean, I should have said that at the beginning, but I don't think you're going to gain anything by watching this movie, unfortunately.
And I totally understand why you'd pull from this list, though, because everything I've watched on here, haven't necessarily loved it, but I've never been disappointed.
Right. I didn't expect to be so disappointed by this.
Yeah. For sure.
Odd. But we want to thank you all for listening to this episode and hanging out with us. It was an awesome time and a blast, and we love doing it for you.
We love you.
And we hope you Love listening. And if you do, jump over into our Discord and hang out with us over there. Talk about pizza, talk about other movies that we cover, other movies that we don't cover, news related to horror.
Are there other food-related horror movies that you would suggest besides pizza?
Sure. Let us know all that. Jump into our Instagram. That's at Shuttle the Pod. Get on our threads. Get on our Facebook. Send us an email at the Gmail. At mail.
The Gmail. At mail. The G is silent.
Sam is over on Letterboxd. I'm there too. At Shuttle the Sam. At Shuttle the Bryan. Ross is on Instagram at Ross Purvis.
Hey.
You can look him up. You can be like, I really like Ross. I really wish I could get a tattoo from him, but I'm not in Orlando. How can I fucking do anything? I want Ross's art. Well, you know what? He sells his art.
I do.
So you can buy some of that shit.
I have a Big Cartel. Check it out.
BigCartel.com. It's just that.
No, it's just
take you right to Ross's.
RossPurvis.BigCartel.com.
Yeah,
Ross's
jump out there.
Big Cartel.
He's had some fun shit. I mean, you've seen our tattoos in the Discord, and if you think we're cool, you should buy that.
Thanks, guys.
That's that shuttle guarantee.
Shuttle guarantee.
We love you all. Thank you so much. And until next time, avoid the time loop.